YouTube, straight in with the raw, unedited, well, maybe a little bit, depends on how many times I fuck this video up. Anyway, I am Rhys Davis, the founder of RD Transform, the main head coach, even though there is just one at the moment, hoping to get more in the near future. So my story, yeah, basically I was a professional rugby player and I got lost. I lost my way, I lost my structure, I lost my standards. I gained 80 pounds, I turned fat, and there was a lot of things along that journey which we're going to cover today. So where did it all start for me? Born and bred, as a Welshman would say, every young boy's dream is to become a professional rugby player, living in the South Wales valleys, and that's what I set out to do. I played rugby through my early years. I then, had aspirations to move up north to play rugby league, which is my sport. I didn't play rugby union, I played rugby league. Always had an immense passion for fitness. I just loved it. I was always one of the fittest in school, always taking up the extra sports. I played cricket, I played rugby, I played football. I did it all. I was one of them. Not bragging myself up or anything, but yeah, I just love sport that much. And, I made my professional rugby debut at 17, but this was in South Wales, and at the time there was only a semi-professional team. So I decided to make the move up to north. But before moving up north, I had 2 shoulder surgeries, 16 and 18, which is, for a young boy, that is a big thing. And that would have easily ended my career or a lot of people's career. But I was determined, I wasn't going to let that knock me down and let me fall off my goal of becoming a professional rugby player. So yeah, I recovered from them. And at the age of 20, I made the move up to Leeds in Yorkshire. And I played semi-professional rugby in Wales, and then, moving up there, I was a small fish in a big pond. I basically had to start over again. I found a club, a reserve team. I studied at university while I was doing this, so I thought, why not, cross 2 things off at once. So I studied sports science, which then led on to me personal training. I actually did my personal training course after that, but back to the rugby. I then found a reserve club in Leeds, Yorkshire. And then about 2 years later, I made my professional debut. So yeah, rugby was a fantastic thing for me, but it was very short-lived. Looking back on my career, I actually spent 4 years on the sideline, not playing at all. So 4 years, I didn't play at all because of injuries. Then at 24, I had my 3rd shoulder surgery, which was my biggest blow of them all. Yes, this one really affected me. And at the time, because I was getting injured all the time and I couldn't stay on the field, I was personal training. So I actually did my degree at university in my early 20s. And then about 24, I got a personal training job. So I was doing one-to-one personal training as well as trying to play rugby, even though I was injured all the time. But I had my major blow at 24. So I was working at the time. I had my own apartment in Leeds to pay for, which was an absolute fortune. And yeah, life was tough. So I had that surgery and it didn't go too well, actually. It took me, which should have been a 3 month recovery, it took me 6 months. And I actually gained 70 to 80 pounds of fat, which, yeah, was a big blow for me. So my identity was this young guy who was fit, strong. Yes, I had my injuries, but I was always in shape. I was always lean. I was always one of the strongest in the gym. I was always one of the fittest on the field. To go from there to down there was a massive blow on me. And, you might have seen on the surface level, you might have seen me being unfit, and you might have seen me, not looking healthy anymore. I was obviously fat, I was overweight. But the biggest thing was how it affected my life. My mental health was at an all-time low. My career, I was actually, really taking an impact at work. My relationships, I became insecure. I became, everything a person shouldn't be in a relationship. I wasn't confident. I was losing money left, right, and center. And the biggest thing which I lost the most was my self-respect. I was too scared to go back out into the world. I was too scared to face reality. And it was not an easy thing for me getting back to where I needed to go. And the biggest lesson of it all, and the main thing I coach these days, is structure and standards. And I lost my way because I lost my standards. Getting injured, I was bedbound. I was no longer being active. I was no longer training. I was no longer prioritizing myself. I was thinking about work. I was thinking about my relationships, not actually thinking about me. And I needed to get that back. So that's exactly what I tried to do. And unfortunately, the biggest lesson I learned was I tried to do it the wrong bloody way. And that way was trying to do the same things I was doing when I was a professional rugby player. I tried to train 5-6 days a week. I tried to run the same amount of distance. I tried to lift the same weights. I tried to keep up with the boys when they was training, and I was just way off. And so many people, the biggest takeaway from this video I want people to learn is, yes, you need to get structure back and you need to raise your standards, but you cannot do what you used to do. I had 80 pounds excess body fat on me. I remember going back to my first rugby training session. It's a story I've told before. Like, I tried to do a lap and I was fucking gone. I couldn't even run a lap. Like, my coach rang me the evening. He said, "You're an embarrassment." And he said, "You are way out of shape." And that was when the switch flipped for me. And that's when things really, really turned around, because I realized what I'd become, but also trying to get back to me being healthy and lean. I went extreme and I lost I lost 80 pounds in less than 6 months. It was very drastic, and I became a bit unwell as well. I wasn't healthy. I was always getting illnesses. I didn't feel strong. And the way I should have done it really was to start where I was actually at and meet in the middle. So, instead of going flat out at rugby training and trying to do everything I used to do, what I should have been doing is all incorporating, a healthy diet, working my way back into steps, gentle activity, building myself back in the gym. And that would have been, the best approach for me. And then that's when, following on, I stopped playing rugby at 27. So I played for another 2 years after that, 2-3 years. And that's when I retired. My body had enough. I had a disc bulge. My neck, my shoulder, my ankles, my knees, everything was fucked. Like, even to this day now, I'm just about to turn 30. I'm still struggling with a bunch of injuries. But, that's when I decided to find a different career. And not so much a different career. It's still in the fitness industry. So I was personal training and playing rugby. But that's when I moved over to online coaching. The rugby was done. And as hard as it was to give it all up, I had to find a passion for something else, and that was already hiding within me, and that was fitness, personal training, helping people get in shape. And I've had what I achieved in rugby was phenomenal. Commonwealth medal, professional rugby player, representing my country of Wales. I couldn't really ask for more. Did I want it to end the way it did? Did I want it to go that way? No, I didn't. But that is life. You deal with the cards you're dealt with. So for me, going into the fitness industry was the next biggest move. I had experiences, personal training for all them years. I worked with elite rugby coaches. I, trained with some of the best athletes in the world you'll ever meet. And, I went through the biggest struggles and the biggest obstacles that some people will ever go through, and that was going from the top up there as an elite rugby player, having everything, and then being down there depressed, overweight, losing money, losing relationships, just life absolutely crumbled. And I had to get back there, and I did get back to professional rugby. And that's when, when it all finished, I decided to go down the online coaching route. So I understand and I can relate, not just to professional rugby players, not just to athletes. Every single person out there in this world has probably played sport. They've probably, been to the gym. They've done something. They've been a bit active. And along the line, we all fall off. Life gets in the way. We might get an injury like I did. You might have kids. You might have work, stress. People might get ill in your family. Anything which can knock you off course and make you gain weight. And that's what I'm here to help you do right now. I'm here to help you go from that lower place, someone who's got some experience, someone who has a bit about them, someone who wants to take things to the next level. You're not someone who just wants to jump on and faff about. That's not who I work with. I work with people who are serious about getting results, who can recognize where they're at and where they want to go. And yeah, I'm here to get you them standards back and give you that structure because I can relate. I've lived it, I've been down there, and I know where we need to go. So my biggest takeaway from this whole video, I know it's rambled on a bit, it's my first YouTube video, give me a bloody break. I'm trying my best to get it across anyway. So yeah, the biggest takeaway I want you to know is that even if you're down there, you can still come back just like I did.